മാന്യപ്രേക്ഷകർക്കും ഭാരത് ടിവിയുടെ ഇന്നത്തെ അതിഥിയിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം. ഞാൻ മിഷേൽ. ഇന്നത്തെ അതിഥിയിൽ നമുക്കൊരു ഗസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. ആ ഗസ്റ്റിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് നമുക്ക് ഒരു കാര്യത്തെപ്പറ്റി ചെറുതായിട്ടൊന്ന് റിഫ്ലക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. നമുക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാം, നമ്മളിന്ന് ഓസ്ട്രേലിയയിൽ ജീവിക്കുന്നു, നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികൾ ഓസ്ട്രേലിയയിൽ ജീവിക്കുന്നു. അവരെല്ലാവരും, എല്ലാ പേരൻസിനുമുള്ള ഒരു പ്രധാന ആങ്സൈറ്റിയാണ് ഇന്ത്യയിൽ നിന്ന് ഇവിടെ വന്നു, ഇവിടെ എൻ്റെ കുട്ടികളുടെ പഠനം എങ്ങനെയാവും, അവരുടെ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസം എങ്ങനെയാവും എന്നൊക്കെ ഉള്ളത്. ഇത്തരം ആങ്സൈറ്റീസിനൊക്കെ ആൻസർ തരാൻ കേപ്പബിലിറ്റി ഉള്ള ഒരാളാണ് ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ഗസ്റ്റായിട്ട് വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഞാൻ ആ ഗസ്റ്റ് ആരാണെന്ന് ഒന്ന് ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം. മിസ് മുൻമുൻ അഗർവാൾ. അവർ ഇവിടെ ഓസ്ട്രേലിയയിലായിട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞ 8 വർഷത്തിന് മുകളിലായി. ലട്രോപ്പ് യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ നിന്ന് ഇലക്ട്രോണിക്സ് എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗിൽ മാസ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ബിരുദം നേടിയതിന് ശേഷം അവർ നമ്മുടെ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയിലായിട്ട് 8 വർഷത്തിന് മുകളിലായി. 8 വർഷമായിട്ട് ഇവിടെ തന്നെ ഉണ്ട്. ഓസ്ട്രേലിയയിലും വിക്ടോറിയയിലും ടാസ്മേനിയയിലുമായി ഒരുപാട് വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിൽ ജോലി ചെയ്തു. അതിനുശേഷം ഇപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ കുമോൺ ഇൻസ്ട്രക്ടറായിട്ടും കുമോൺ സെൻറ്റർ നടത്തുകയാണ് മിസ് മുൻമുൻ അഗർവാൾ. ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ ഗസ്റ്റിനെ നമുക്ക് ഇന്നത്തെ അതിഥിയിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യാം. മിസ് മുൻമുൻ, വെൽക്കം ടു ഇന്നത്തെ അതിഥി ഫോർ ഭാരത് ടി വി.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm happy to be here today.
Okay. So, Ms. MunMun, I have heard a lot of parents saying that, okay, my child is speaking only in English, but I want my child to speak in my mother tongue too. Do you think it's possible for kids to learn, 2 or 3 different languages at the same age or at the same time?
Yeah, actually I do. I do think it's very much possible, and I would say it's recommended. Being multilinguistic, as we all know, has become one of our fortes. A lot of people want to present that in the resumes nowadays, even in their career. So sometimes if they haven't learned that in their childhood, there are a lot of kids who are now trying to pick up new languages at high school level. Yeah. So I think for people like us, when we come from an ethnic background and we already have that multilinguistic capabilities in us, we have a different mother tongue, maybe we have a different father tongue as well. And then why not introduce all of these languages to the kids? I think kids, I think we're amazing as human beings. We have got the potential to pick up so much.
Absolutely.
And the first 5 years, I always say, is the most crucial for a kid's development. And you can feed them as many languages as you want. Speak to them in 3 different languages. You'd be amazed, in 3 years' time, they will speak back to you in all the 3 languages. So, yeah, definitely.
And you mentioned numeracy. What do you think is lacking? Are we doing enough already?
Yes, so Michelle, numeracy is all about thinking skills, and I think with iPads and calculators and more that we're starting to use that in our everyday life, I think our thinking capacity is probably not being exercised as much as we should be. So, as we know, brain is also a muscle. We need to exercise the muscle to actually keep it nice and healthy, just like we practice when we are going for soccer or for badminton or something like that. So numeracy skills really relies on practicing and really working it in your head. So, for example, at Kumon, we're always, telling kids, think in your head, try to get all the answers instantly. So really thinking as much as possible in your head and practicing that over and over, especially a little bit of it every day, is what can help us build the numeracy skills in the kids. Not like, you do something today and then you don't do it for a whole week. Then the kids are not really in the habit of thinking numbers. They need to think numbers. It needs to come that easy to them. And it won't come easy and they won't enjoy it unless they are doing it every day.
We both know it, that, parents are struggling these days. Parents, both of them are working. Kids go to school, come back, they sit on their TV or their PlayStation, they're on their iPads. And when their parents are back from work, they don't have enough time to focus, and or probably they're too tired to go to the children and tell them to, okay, you read, you write, you do your math. So what do you recommend? What do you think can be done to solve this problem?
Yeah, I think you're very right. Parents nowadays are extremely busy, and with both parents working, I think I often have parents who are sometimes also feeling guilty that they're not doing enough with the kids as well. I think maybe enrolling your kids into a structured program like I have at my center could be one of the ways of going about it. So you're ensuring that you're still giving your kids all the exposure, making sure that they're not falling behind at any stage, but also you're not pushing them like beyond a point where it is just push, 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 but they're not liking it. So, for example, at our center, we always make sure that kids are enjoying what they're doing. They're only progressing when they have actually mastered and they feel comfortable, whether it be with reading, whether it be with numbers, and then they move to the new concept. They're not just pushing forward just for the sake of it. And we also don't compare kids. Like, there could be two grade 2 kids at the center, and one could be just learning numbers. Maybe that's where the ability is, and there could be another grade 2 kid who could be doing fractions, for example, because that's where the kid's ability is, and that's what they're enjoying. So I think if parents are really busy, then putting them into a structured program could be definitely a way to go, which will build in the daily practice, the daily study routine, like I said, that everyday thinking, everyday reading is very, very important.
So, when do you think is the right time for my child to be enrolled in a structured program like what your center does?
Yeah, so kids can start at a very young age. I've got kids at the center who are like 2, 3, 4-year-olds, so not even enrolled at school yet. And it's still a great age because in a few months' time, in a few years' time, some of these kids already know how to add, many of these kids know how to read, and they haven't even enrolled at school. So again, going back to when we were talking about setting a good foundation, so good foundation starts at a very young age. So whenever I think parents feel comfortable, no age is too young. And when we start at a young age, we can start to mold the behavioral characteristics of a kid. Learning is only 50% and behavior is 50%, we always say. So molding the behavior, the right posture, the right attitude, the right work skills, the right routine to do it every day, all of that forms a big part of how you're going to learn in your life. So you start from a young age, and then going into high school, going into VCE. Sometimes I have parents who will come to me probably when their kids are already at high school. Sometimes I've had parents who've come to me just before VCE, and the reason they've come to me is because their kids have been denied, sitting in taking up maths or specialist maths or advanced maths or something like that, taking up a particular subject in VCE, which they thought is essential for them to consider the career forward for their child. But at the very last minute, the schools probably denied their child to sit for that subject, for that exam, which then disappoints the parents, and they feel, we should have probably found out before. Had we found out when he was in grade 2, grade 3, grade 5, we could have done more. And now it's too late. But that can have a very big impact on the kid's future. So I think start young. Start at a point where you can sometimes feel everything is fine. I know a lot of time parents feel everything is fine now, so I don't need anything. And then it gets to a point in a few years' time when it's too late because many things have gone wrong. And then we have to go back to the foundations. Of course, we can fix. It's not like we can't fix the foundation. It then takes a bit longer because the more forward you've gone in your years of study, there's a lot more for us to catch up in the basic foundation. So it's just a matter of time. So if you are a young parent, if you've got younger kids, while they are in that very youthful age of when they want to learn, they've got the energy, they really want to extend their energy, and they've got the brain capacity, just give them the opportunity to explore their own potential.
I'm sure due to limitations of time, there's only so much we can talk about, there's only so much we can cover about. But I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for coming to Part2 TV and taking the time to explain so much about what's possible, what can be done. It's been such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much.
It's actually been my pleasure. So thank you so much for having me today. Hopefully I was able to answer some of the questions from your audience. But thank you so much, Michelle. I love being here.
Thank you. ഇന്നത്തെ അതിഥിയിൽ നമ്മുടെ ഗസ്റ്റ് മുൻമുൻ ആയിരുന്നു. മുൻമുനായിട്ടുള്ള കോൺവെർസേഷൻ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടോ എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. ഒരുപാട് ആളുകൾക്ക്, നമ്മളിൽ ഒരുപാട് പേർക്ക് ഒരുപാട് സംശയങ്ങളും ഒരുപാട് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസും ചോദിക്കാനുണ്ടാവും. നിങ്ങളുടെ എല്ലാ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസും bharat.tv@gmail.com എന്ന ഇമെയിലിലേക്ക് അയയ്ക്കുക. മുൻമുൻ നിങ്ങളുടെ ചോദ്യങ്ങൾക്കെല്ലാം ഉത്തരവുമായി റെഡിയായിട്ട് ഇവിടെ തന്നെ ഉണ്ടാവും. ഇന്നത്തെ അതിഥിയിലേക്ക് ഇത്രയും സമയം നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്ത മുൻമുൻ ഞാൻ ഒന്നുകൂടെ നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുകയാണ്.